What is up, guys? So today I'm so excited to finally be bringing to you my take on the game Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Unfortunately, I am still in the middle of trying to get my setup going, and as you can tell right now, the audio is not the best, so I apologize for that. Alright guys, so before we get into the video, I first want to say that I believe Ghost Recon Breakpoint is an amazing game. I believe it is one of the best, if not the best, casual milsim in its class. Having said that, I will be the first to admit that this game has numerous bugs, issues, and things that could be improved. Throughout this video, I'll be bringing up a lot of issues and improvements for this game. I don't do it because I hate this game, I do it because I love it and I see so much potential in it. So throughout this video, I will be sharing some ideas and improvements that may seem extreme to some of you guys. I understand that more than likely these changes and ideas that I'm about to share with you will not be implemented into the game. I just love this game so much that my hope is if we all get together and share the same vision that maybe we can see a few changes in the future. So originally my plan was to make multiple videos as soon as this game came out. I was very excited to play it and I was hoping to share it as soon as possible. However, due to how busy I was at the time and still am, I was not able to make those videos as I wanted. So this is my take at basically a combination of multiple videos. I apologize for the length, but I hope that you can get something out of it. So just to be upfront with you guys, I do lean more towards milsim and roleplay, and I do realize that will affect my opinion on this game and the ideas and improvements that I have for it. I do believe that with the story and setting of this game, it is meant to be played in a more serious milsim type way, but I understand that is just my opinion. Alright, now that we got all that out of the way, let's go ahead and start. So after playing the beta and extensively playing this game and looking at the feedback of others, I came up with my very own list of my top 22 pros and 20 cons. Now bear in mind that this is my opinion, but I hope that you will learn something and it can be beneficial to you. So first of all, I'm going to go through the pros of this game. I feel like there are a lot and I want to cover them first. Number one, the online lobby. So for me, this is a big thing. Being able to see other players, their gear, their loadouts, being able to see their interaction and interact with them is such a big thing and definitely helps me want to play this game more and just makes it feel more alive. And I really, really enjoy that feature in the game. Number four, the classes, perks, and customization. So I'm really glad they added this to the game. For me, it just helps me to find my uniqueness and usefulness in a four-man squad, and definitely helps and encourages me to play co-op in a team. Number five, enemy AI. So this is a big one for me. I am very happy with what they did in the game with the personalization, the search parties, the no auto detect, the time it takes for enemies to communicate your position, and the fact that they search at your last known position and they don't automatically detect you wherever you go. I know there is still room for improvement, but overall I believe they did a vast improvement from Wildlands. Number six, the map and weather. So this is one that I was actually surprised with, and I really, really do like the map and weather system in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I do believe that the Wildlands map was definitely more realistic. However, if you give it a chance, you will see how beautiful and vast and amazing this map and the weather system is. Number seven, no ammo crate. So this was a big one for me, and I really appreciate how they finally added a more realistic ammo pickup sense in that there's no main box where you go that automatically fills all your ammo like in Wildlands, but that you find it on bodies and around the map. And to me, it's just so much more realistic. Number eight, vehicle armor. So this was a big one for me, and I'm so glad they finally added the fact that small arms fire doesn't immediately disable and take out ground vehicles. I was so pissed off in Wildlands that pretty much any vehicle, even if it was an armored APC, could very quickly be taken out by small arms fire. So I've been able to take on multiple bosses with just one vehicle by myself, and I really, really enjoy they added this into the game. And I do know that a lot of people are complaining about the glass, the bulletproof glass not being actually bulletproof, and I understand that. However, overall, it is definitely very improved over the system of Wildlands. Number nine, the difficulty and HUD customization options. So this was a big one for me. Wildlands didn't do a bad job. However, I love how this game has so much more customization and ways to do your HUD. And also with the difficulty level, I love how they just simply made it more deadly instead of trying to automatically tack on different options or take them away. So I really appreciate that. A lot more room for freedom and to play the way you want. Number 11, rocket launchers. So I am so glad they finally entered this into the new game, and that was one of my big things with Wildlands was the fact that here you have all these Sicarios, you have all these, different types of factions and rebels, and yet no RPGs, no rocket launchers. I was okay with the fact of not having them myself, but it just seemed so unrealistic. Number 12, so this is a very obvious one, but the extra features they added with the prone camo, the torch, and the carrying. So finally, as we all know, we've been asking for it for a long time, the ability to be able to carry either enemy combatants or our buddies out of harm's way is a much needed and a very, very, very good feature to have in any milsim game. Number 13, the movement system. So this is a big one for me, and I know a lot of people were complaining about how long it took to do what they wanted with the animations and all the different things that went into that. I, for one, disagree. I believe it is so much more realistic to have that natural delay, whether it be going down in the prone position, pulling up your weapon, or going down a mountain and recovering. I really enjoy how they added that feature, and I believe it is a good feature. Number 14, the lighting system. So I'm not going to go into detail on this issue. However, I will say that I believe it's quite a bit better than Wildlands, and I love the dynamic lighting, the time it takes for your eyes to adjust when you enter a room, and all that. And overall, I believe they did a good job. Number 15, the weight system. So this is one I almost didn't put in pros. However, the fact that they actually put in a weight system, even though I believe it's very faulty, definitely is a good sign and definitely an improvement over Wildlands. Number 16, the body armor improvement. So this is not a huge issue for me. However, I do really like the fact that they went ahead and improved the body armor by placing a lot of the plates in the plate carrier higher, so they are a lot more realistic. And it is nice that they took attention to that detail as well. Number 17, the blouse boots. So this is also a small issue for me. However, it is a very nice improvement, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to this feature. Number 18, the mission complexity, basically not always giving you the exact objective or showing you the exact placement of the objective. I know Wildlands did this a little bit, but for some reason it just seems better in Breakpoint to where I find myself a lot of times actually having to put a little bit more thought into some of the missions and actually do some searching. I love how it'll give you the general area in a lot of times, but you actually have to search and discover and find the objective for yourself. Number 19, the AA system. So this was a big one for me in Wildlands and one that I'm definitely glad that they improved on here in Breakpoint. I love the fact that the AA is not super OP, and even though they have not added countermeasures, it definitely is an improvement over the last game. Number 20, the NPC personalities. So this one kind of goes with number 5 with the enemy AI, but overall I feel like they did a pretty good job at making the reaction from the civilians and the enemy combatants a lot more realistic, a lot more believable. They personalized a lot more. Obviously, there are some other issues which we will address under cons. Moving on from number 21, explosives. So I am pretty happy with explosions in this game. In my opinion, they are very well done and definitely an improvement over Wildlands. And last but definitely not least, number 22, co-op. So this is a feature I believe they did very well in this game. I love the fact that you can invite people to your bivouac, to your lobby. You can see their stats. You can share items in the bivouac. You have that rally point. You can see your buddies, your squad mates while in camp. And doing all that together just, in my opinion, makes this game so much better, so much more interactive, and so much more fun to play. I love the system they have in place. Obviously, it still could use some improvement, but overall, I am very happy and very impressed with what they did with the co-op system. Alright, moving on to the cons in this game. So as much as I hate to do this, I do have to admit that there are a lot of issues and things that I believe could be so much better in this game. I will try to get through them as quickly as possible, so let's get into it. Number one, weapon customization. So this is one I really did not want to have to put on this list. However, compared to Wildlands, this game is really lacking in weapon customization. At this point, I would just be happy for them to get back to the Wildlands customization and be able to adjust the barrel lengths on your weapon system. There's so much room for improvement in the weapon customization in this game, from tactical slings to placement on the rails to flashlight attachments, just to name a few, that I feel like even if they just looked at a few other games, they could have really came up with a lot better system. I just really hate the variant system. It's so unrealistic and so annoying to me, so immersion breaking. I don't get why they have it in the game. Maybe that's just my opinion, but that's how I feel about that. Number two, online only. So this is one that I believe a lot of people agree with me when I say we do not want online only. There are some slight benefits, but overall it is very annoying and it will definitely limit the amount of players that are able to play and enjoy this game now and in the future. Number three, the tiered loot and variants. So I already discussed my opinion on the variant system. I really hate that system. The tiered loot, as much as I hate it, I will say it's not as bad as I originally thought before the game came out. I just keep finding myself asking, why is it in the game? Like, what does it actually add? It just means more time in the menus, more immersion breaking time spent swapping out weapons for no reason at all, especially since you can kill most enemies one shot to the head, couple shots to the body, and to me, it's a completely useless immersion breaking system. Number four, enemies every 100 meters or so, and it just seems like it's a copy and paste system with Ubisoft. I really feel like they dropped the ball and they were extremely lazy on this one. I do not enjoy the fact that no matter where you go in the world, it seems every 100 meters or so, there's a group of three or four enemies huddled around some down bike or some vehicle, and I don't know, it really is annoying at times and definitely immersion breaking for me. Number five, no rappelling, climbing, or alternate entry options. So this is one that I'm very disappointed in this game with. I believe with games like Siege, Assassin's Creed, things like that, they could have definitely added alternative entry points, alternative ways to get around the map. Nothing crazy, we're not talking Just Cause or anything like that. However, just the ability to be able to climb, to be able to rappel out of a helicopter, or climb up the side of a mountain would be so amazing and definitely add a whole new level to this game. So number six, no personalized markers. So this one is a little bit harder to explain, I guess, but basically I believe that if you have a four-man squad or anybody else with you, that it should be a lot easier to identify who marks what and where on the map and also in game. Having something like a color system or anything that quickly ties it to whichever player set the point would be so amazing and definitely save a lot of time and keep you from having to constantly asking everybody to clear out their points so you can see which one to go to. This is not a new concept by any means, and I use it a lot in a lot of the other games that I play. Number seven, weapon and gear updating. So this ties very closely in with number three, the tiered loot. I really hate the whole system altogether, but I feel like they should at least have the decency to make it a little bit easier to add an option to whenever you switch out a new weapon, it automatically puts all the attachments on with the paint and everything, how you had it. It's already annoying to have to get into the menu all the time to do the adjustments and make the swaps, but the extra time spent having to remodify my weapon is extremely annoying and something I really hope they fix soon. Number eight, having to ditch aircraft when you halo or parachute. So this is a big one for me. Obviously, it is not just Breakpoint that has this issue. I had this issue in Wildlands. I just feel they could do something like they did in Far Cry 5, where they had an NPC that you could recruit that would fly you around. You set a waypoint, you jump out. Maybe they could add an animation, or even if they had better fixed wing aircraft, larger aircraft that you could jump out the back, it would be so amazing. And I understand that in Breakpoint, especially, it's not realistic to have large C-130s or whatever flying above all the time, as you are supposed to be there by yourself. But being able to have at least some kind of NPC pilot, being able to fly a fixed wing plane over an area and being able to jump with your team would be so amazing. Such a nice feature to add to realism and to the immersion. Number 9, CQC or Close Quarters Combat. So this is one that I believe the game had the right idea. They started moving in the right direction, and it is definitely better than Wildlands. However, I feel like they could have added so much more. They could have added chain kills for one, which would have been so awesome. They could have shortened the time on a lot of the animations, especially for the Panther class throwing a smoke bomb. It is really annoying the delay it takes for me to actually get into a knifing situation. The ability to throw knives would have been nice. There's just so much more they could have done with this system. Number 10, night vision. So this is one that I know a lot of people will wonder what I'm talking about, but for anybody that has been in the military or has used actual night vision, they will know that the night vision in this game being blurry instead of actually noisy is definitely unrealistic if you've used it at all. And it definitely could be improved along with the field of view, but that obviously is an issue for most games, having unrealistically large fields of view. Number 11, no HUD option to hide everything with one click. So I'll have to explain a little bit. Now, maybe this system is in the game. I have yet to be able to find it. So if I am wrong, I stand corrected. However, to my knowledge, there's no system that allows you to hide the interface button, yet press it and be able to bring out what you need to when you need it, but then also go back to no HUD whenever you want to immerse yourself fully. Number 12, a lack of fixed-winged and especially large aircraft. So this is not a big issue for me. However, I really do wish they added large fixed-winged aircraft in this game. The ability to be able to jump in with your team, especially for those of us that like to make videos or role play, would be amazing. Maybe even adding a bomber in the future. Just so many ideas and things they could do with this if they just added a few larger fixed-winged aircraft. And I really hope they do it in the future. Number 13, NPC animations and textures. So this is a big one. I've seen a lot on different channels, different videos, but also in my own experience in the game. Granted, I am playing on Xbox currently, so that might be part of the issue, but other than walkers, pretty much all the characters in this game are pretty bland, especially when it comes to the textures. They unfortunately do not look very good at all, laughable sometimes, and I really wish they would fix that. Number 14, a lack of weapons, clothing, and gear items. So this is a very simple one. I know that it is early stages of the game, but I would have thought that they could at least came out with close to the amount of gear and weapons they had in Wildlands and then expanded on that. However, just the limited options that they have is really disappointing. Number 15, lasers. So the inability to turn on and off your lasers on your weapon system, along with the fact that enemies cannot detect normal lasers when they are directed directly at them, along with the fact that you can see IR lasers without any specialized equipment or headset, is definitely something that I think they need to address and fix in this game. Number 16, enemies not reloading. So this is a very simple problem that I believe should not be there. I don't know why they don't have it in the game. At least it's not there to my knowledge. I know multiple other people have brought this up. I could be wrong, but as far as I can tell, none of the NPCs in the game reload. This is a very, very immersion breaking. I do know that the heavy guns will overheat, so I guess that's better than nothing. Number 17, gear type doesn't affect armor and stats. So basically, when you can have a game that has a beret that has more armor resistance or more explosive resistance or whatever over an ACH or a standardized military helmet, something is wrong in that game, in my opinion. Now, I understand that you have skin override, and that's fine, and that's cool, and that's definitely, helps me get over it a little bit, but it still is really annoying and very immersion breaking whenever they have such a retarded system in the game. Number 18, no first person view or iron sights for vehicles and rocket launchers. So this is one I believe they really, really need to fix because if you're like me and you like to go more realistic, turn off crosshairs, use lasers or iron sights, the fact that you cannot actually aim the rocket launcher in first person or basically hit anything with a helicopter is really, really annoying and definitely makes it hard to enjoy the game. I find myself really being annoyed at having to switch back and forth, especially when I'm playing with others and they depend on me to be able to provide air support. Number 19, wildlife that is not immersive or dangerous, or basically does not add any element to the game, in my opinion. So, this is one thing that I thought was going to be better in the game. I thought there was going to be at least some kind of sense of danger or a little bit more interaction with the wildlife. As most people know, that currently there is a bug where most of the wildlife doesn't even drop anything when you kill them. Along with the fact that unlike Far Cry or some other games, there is no sense of danger. You don't have to worry about some wolf or cougar creeping up behind you and attacking you, which I really thought was a cool feature. Definitely added something to the game. And last but not least, number 20, the lack of places and uses for the torch. So this is one thing that I was really looking forward to. When I started playing the game, I quickly realized that there was very few places you could actually use this item. Most of the fences, even when they are chain link, they have bars across and you cannot use them. And a lot of places that you can use it, there's other better ways to get in already. So this is something I was very disappointed in. I really hope they add the option to be able to cut through more fences and types of materials. Alright guys, so that concludes my pros and cons for this video. So originally my idea was to have a very comprehensive video where I had all my ideas, improvements, including bugs, along with the pros and cons for this game. However, I quickly realized it was going to take way too long, and I believe the video already is pretty long the way it is. So I hope you were able to get something out of it. There will be more detailed and future content here soon. Unfortunately, I have not been able to play as much as I'd like. I am very busy at this time, but I will be working on it as hard as I can, and I hope this was able to inform you, to be able to help you make a decision, and just to raise awareness in general. So, y'all have fun playing the game, and until I see you again, have a great day.